Alright YouTube, how's it going? Jack here. I am here, highly caffeinated. I know that they say that for colds you're supposed to be drinking tea and not coffee, but I want the germs in my throat to feel the heat. But apologies already for sounding like somebody who just came out of the witness protection program. But having spent 11 or so hours of gameplay, mostly through what the whole of the internet is calling Dead Space's spiritual successor, which I kind of prefer to call Dead Space's gay cousin, because it's full of surprises, but not really. And also it's coming out feels like something that it really wasn't ready for. I want to talk about the Callisto Protocol. Okay, first of all, bloody comparisons. We cannot avoid that. Dead Space 1 gave us a tantalizing, tight, don't say tight, action horror game filled with stuff like non-generic enemies with immunity to Tylenol. The experience of staying at your uncle's at the age of 5. Kick the baby! Yeah! Beautiful set pieces as well as a well-paced and fleshed out story that extends to its sequel. You've been busting it down sexual style and making you by default, say it with me now, goated with the sauce. Yes! I discovered the game about 2 months ago and absolutely fell in love with it. Dead Space 2 on the other hand saw its predecessor's horror element and told that shit to take a backseat because it's time for some fucking action, man. Like, this game managed somehow to one-up itself. Like, don't get me wrong, there was still horror, but the action was truly something to behold, from the nerve-wracking to the absolutely grotesque. This game had just about anything, and I swear on the name of Protein Jesus, it had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Halo jump in history. Like Big Tom Cruise and his Boeing C-17 Globemaster III jump. That shit was child's play. Star Trek Into the Darkness trying to potentially copy this game 2 years later. Because I don't know, man. Seeming sus. I mean, just look at this shit. I feel like I want to play Shoot to Thrill and feel like Iron Man, but at the same time my brain is stuck in sound and I just want to scream, let's go! Alright, I forget the name of the channel. Let's stay relaxed, let's chill. With 2 W's under his belt, the Dead Space series will certainly get a spiritual successor that will live up to the hype. I want to start this review by saying that I don't hate the Callisto Protocol. After having spent 11 or so hours with it, I can't really say that I hate it. However, there's one lingering word that stays with me, and that is potential. Let me explain. In this game, we play as Jacob Lee, a cargo pilot who, along with his partner Max, are on a generic transportation job. This one takes them to Callisto, one of Jupiter's moons. The two of them had just been watching a report of a terrorist attack on Europa, enacted by a group called the Outer Way. After a quick check of the ship's cargo, Jacob discovers that they've been boarded by none other than Karen Fukuhara, playing the role of Danny, and in their attempt to get rid of them, they end up crashing on the moon. Max gets two-faced but doesn't live long enough to become the villain. Jacob on the other hand survives, but gets captured by the dude who played Doomsday in Smallville. I'm just glad that Starkiller got a new job. Thus, they are incarcerated in a maximum security prison called Black Iron. Conceptually, I really like what they were going with here. It could be like a prison break type of scenario. And in the very first level, I started having questions to myself like, why are we here? Just to suffer? How would we escape? What did I do to get targeted by Karen? Besides, there were of course the possible Dead Space parallels. The subtext of Jacob being the spiritual successor of Isaac, very biblical, and even the setting of Callisto, named after that chick in Greek mythology that got transformed into a bear because, well, Zeus couldn't keep it in his pants. Like, I was really into it. Plus, having the entire thing set around the equivalent of the American prison complex where they use Elon Musk's Neuralink is just
fucking stupid.
And I love it. So anyways, we wake up during the aftermath of the Guardian of the Galaxy prison breakout, where instead of aliens is mutated humans. And I swear on Korean Jesus' name that this game was trying trying to copy his father's beat for beat. Maybe it's because I recently played both games, but there are sequences in this that just feel way too close to one another, as if they had been directly copied from Dead Space 1 and 2. It even extends to the characters. To a certain point, like for example the inclusion of the dude that knows the facility that aids us in our escape but dies halfway, the woman who doesn't disclose her full identity and nearly gets us killed, melee combats with dodge mechanics that feel like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, crawling through more vents than Adam fucking Jensen.
I never asked for this.
The aforementioned Halo jump, a sinister cabal revealed only at the end of the game so to set up a sequel, even the fucking ending. And all this of course handled by a protagonist out of his elements who wants nothing but to escape the equivalent of Space Ohio. I've heard that leaving Ohio is very similar to like getting out of the back rooms, a process that is made exponentially harder when the main baddie is a level 100 mafia boss working for the white people from Squid Game. I'm sorry, Shinji, crank that soldier boy, I'm getting ahead of myself. While half of the story of this game can basically be skipped because nothing major of any importance actually really happens before chapter 6, the thing that this game has no plenty and that should be praised is the visuals. Holy Jesus on a shed stick, when this game wants to look good, it looks freaking good. But not in like how Resident Evil Village was trying to look good and ended up with what felt like some sort of uncanny valley where it never really felt photorealistic. Speak for yourself. This game cranked up to the max when it freaking lets you is looking so bloody cinematic. Like dismembering the... What the fuck are we calling these things again? Biophages, because every game must avoid using the word zombie for some reason. Yes, the dodging can be bad, unpredictable, or should I say dodgy. And actually, I found out by looking through the accessibility modes, automated too. Bruh, why? In instances where you become overwhelmed, dodging can be pretty damn neat. Especially when afterwards you get to beat down your foe with London's second most favorite weapon.
In the name of the Queen!
It's not like the combat in Dead Space 1 or 2 was especially revolutionary by any means, but to me, combat in action horror games is pretty much make it or break it. Like, is it defensive like in Souls-likes, où tu crains ta vie? No. Or is it offensive like, damn, Kanye just turned super racist. There is strategic dismemberment in the game, and while it can be janky, using it with the several guns you acquire towards the chapters is pretty neat. You get a total of 5 guns in the Callisto Protocol, each with 5 upgrades. Each final upgrade will change your weapon's function, and since your gun has the same base, you're just walking up to this 3D printer to get a new barrel changed.
Within normal parameters.
The modding of the guns is a super nice concept, one that would take your general pistol from a hand cannon to an assault rifle with burst rounds, and even a shotgun. Just like the melee combat, it has its flaws at the baseline, but the more you upgrade, the more it grows on you. Lastly is the kinetic module, or the grab gauntlet as I called it. That isn't really used as a means to solve puzzles, because there aren't puzzles here. Like, who has time to solve puzzle during a viral outbreak? Imagine just being stuck at the end of your days with only bird, but wait. No shot.
Rig authorization recognized. Greetings. Station
Now
control.
that's how you get creative with abilities in games. Nope, what this helps you do is to grab, jerk, and throw around most enemies. You can also chuck explosives and different canisters at your targets with it. But since the prison is built like a Warhammer 40k amusement park with spiky walls at each corner, you are more likely to stick with the slam jam approach during your encounters with the biophages. The story. Ach du lieber God. As I said before, the word here is potential, but it feels like they try to tell a biblical story. I'm not saying that I need to have a game story spoon-fed to me. I actually prefer not to, but that said, it also shouldn't feel like. The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" He replied, "Because the knowledge of the secret of this story has been given to you in audio logs. Go find it. The One Piece is real." I could not connect to the characters, even when the game insisted on giving us this somewhat heartfelt moment that came out of nowhere. It was all just confusing. Example, Elias, who drops lines like a wise old wizard. He's another inmate here at the prison and plans on escaping with you. There's this point in the story where the two of you get to have some sharing, and when Jacob asks the guy what he's in for, he replies,
What? You worried you're helping a murderer, Sco?
Well, yeah, kinda.
Well, you are, man. So what? Look, it was a long time ago, yeah? I was defending myself. Wrong place, wrong time. Made a lot of bad decisions back then.
Yeah, well, you were probably just dealt the shitty hand.
No. I was used to blame everyone else. But then I realized this was on me. You can't keep running from what you've done.
Now, this conversation is pretty good for Jacob because this kind of foreshadows what to expect with a supposed twist by the end of the game. But for Elias, it means nothing. Who did he kill? What happened? Nothing. We learn nothing from these two, especially since Starkiller, disguised as a Captain Ferris, flushes the both of you out and killing Elias in the process. When it comes to Danny, well, we'll talk about her later because world building. So mid that it's meh. So there are audio logs spread around that you can listen to and learn what select individuals within the facility were going through prior to the outbreak. But compared to a 2008 game, these aren't used properly at all. First, technically, I must at all times keep the display open to listen to a voice log in Callisto, whereas in Dead Space,
She is fucked. I don't know what went on in there, but I'm not sticking around in case whatever did it comes back. I'm heading for hydroponics.
here we get no background on what necessitated the recreation of the Transportation Act of 1717. Like, how are people on other planets? How did we colonize these moons? Like, I have my personal ideas of what it is. Like, perhaps this game tried to copy a little bit of The Expanse because I see some bits and pieces of that plot in there, but that's just my theory, a dumbass theory. Not only does the game not give us any info on the ongoings in the Sol system, but we know nothing about the moon itself. Also, is it just me or the terror attack that incited the entire thing here really only just like hit straight? I just find it really disappointing that I got more lore from the tall Game of Thrones chick that narrated the Helix Station story of this game than I got from the game itself. And since the game is mishandling a story element in that way, I find solace or redemptive factors of it in the vibes. But you know what I don't vibe with? The most hyped element of this game. The special death animations. Boss fights and QTEs aside, the repetitiveness of some of these things is just disgusting. Don't get me wrong, some of them are actually pretty good. Some of which are hidden behind special paywalls for future content, mind you. And still don't even transition simultaneously. And if it wasn't because this cold that I have has taught me to exercise restraint, being forced to watch the same two animations over and over and over again would have made me mad. It's the same enemy type, the same babies in a crate, that same springy type biophage that launches at you and tries to bite you. It's very samey, and that's why it's mid. Lastly, the bad. Okay, I don't usually do videos that go this fast because my voice is kind of messed up and I kind of want to keep it, so I'm trying to rush through this. But I suppose that this is the same thing that the devs kind of did in a lot of elements here. I'm not even going to touch on the performance issues. I didn't uninstall the game twice. That should tell you enough. But I was reminded while playing this game on stream that it was originally said to be part of the PUBG universe, but with time and circumstances it became its own thing. Later, close to the end of the game, there's a PUBG reference made, which makes me wonder how long they were before they kind of had this paradigm shift in the development process. If fair enough, I think that they should have perhaps revised some of their elements, because a lot of the level designs in Callisto Protocol are non-interactive. The game will literally force Jacob to crawl through bloody vents, tunnels, and even shit, but not allow him to do any meaningful backtracking. How about a little bit of interconnectivity, some consistency like in Dead Space 1, just to make the location feel alive? In Dead Space 2, they went out of the way to even rematch the model of the Ishimura that you got to play in the first game, just so they could add that sense of backtracking that games like Resident Evil are known for. Like, bruv, you crafted one of the most beautiful games out there, yet you kind of squandered it, wasted it, because we won't see any of these locations because we only get to see them once. Now, to be fair, there is an instance of backtracking in the game, but that one lasts for like a total of 5 minutes. And they even throw you back in yourself with your weapons on you. Like, where's the sense in that? Also, to the consistency point, when Jacob and Elias were sent out flying in the wind, like a turd, Jacob slowly regained his consciousness after the fall and struggled with his oxygen mask, while Elias, surely dying, was able to speak normally with a cracked helmet. Like even in the very first crash of the game's intro, when the main character of Days Gone comes and arrests you to put you to jail, he walks in with the thing on his face, and Jacob is just casually just standing there. Like, be consistent. Wait a freaking minute. How did we turn into Usain Bolt? I could have used it during the boss fight. With my newfound love for Dead Space franchise and my desire for something filmic, or should I rather say cinematic, the thing that I really compare this hands-on experience of Callisto Protocol with is Death Stranding, because I kept on playing this game, although I didn't really feel it, but there was just something that kept me going. Be it its kind of old school surface level video game in nature, I don't exactly know what it is, but this game just kept me playing. So I can't really hate something that I couldn't put down. The Callisto Protocol is a beautiful game that unfortunately got cursed with the roughest of launches, and with an unfortunate lackluster execution of what could have potentially been a better story than Dead Space. From a 0 to a certified
Binchilin.
I'm gonna give it a 5 for halfway done.
You got games on your phone.
Thank you for watching this review. Hopefully my voice stopped being hoarse by the end of the week so that I can continue to do some more recordings. And yeah, that said though, if you liked the video, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribe if you want to see more. That said though, wish you all to have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one.